Hello YouTubers. So today we will be doing a tutorials on, or should I say, a basics of how to make a BJD doll wigs. What I do, and so you will need a materials and tools. You will need a glue, you will need a yarn, a couple of these yarns, hair iron, the pet comb over there, and regular brushes. It can be a comb or it can be like a plastic comb or a plastic brushes, a hanger, a stocking, and any size dolls that if you have, it can be a Monster High doll or any of those other dolls that you wanted to make the wig. So either that, you can do it, and some basics that I do. Now, first thing is what I do is I take some yarn and I tie them up on the hanger. As you can see, this is already already processed. What I do is I use the pet comb. Let's see, sorry about the quality. I use a pet comb and I just brush them, make sure it's all even out and it's good. It would be fluffier, all sorts, and apparently it will turn out like these. See, it's so fluffy, and this how it turns. And then you'll need an iron. My recommendation is that use a hair iron or any, if you have like a other ironing material like a laundry ironing, you could try that as well. Or an hair iron is the best option because it can be straightened on both sides, and it turns out like these. See how it's very fine looking, and it's straight as even. And what kind of yarn I use is I use the acrylic yarn that you can find in any cheaper place at Walmart or any local store like art store. They have more options as well. And I use a glue, I use a paintbrush, which I don't have right now. I use a paintbrush to use the glue to put the wefty part, which is around the tip of this, so that way you can attach the doll's head, which is this one. This is already completed. I finished it already. This is how it turns out. Yeah, and I pretty much liked it. It went well. So this is what my doll looked like with the hair. And how do you do that? Well, first you need is a wig cap. You need to make a wig cap. How would you make it? First I did is I take the doll's head. I measured the radius of the head around the doll's head, and then I cut the pieces of the elastic. You can find any elastic if you have like an old underwear or an old you can also use like an old socks that may have an elastic as well too, because since they're stretchable around from the radius. So, and use like a stocking cap. I use a stocking and then I sew them together on the rim part. And the stockings are pretty fragile, so it may not be good for sewing. So yeah, and what I do here is I take this glue and I put all the glue on the head cap, so that way it will be more sturdier and maybe easier to glue it on. And optionals are, you can also use like a sewing machine for like if you wanted to sew the wig, or you can also make the weft for the wig, either by synthetic wig or acrylic yarn. Either way is fine, unless if you have a sewing machine, which I do not have a sewing machine at this point, but I will get it someday. So yeah, so an optional way is you can also make a wig cap by using like a stocking or any like a stretchable fabric. Any stretchable fabric is okay as long as it's stretchable. And I use this stretchable rim part right here with the cap, so that way it will be stretchy and it will easy fit. Now, and make sure you protect your doll with the plastic, because if you don't protect your doll with the plastic, it will be stuck or glued together, and you don't want that, and you don't want to ruin your expensive doll like these. And so that's how you make them. And about the glue, if my recommendation for using a glue is make sure you get like Elmer's glue all, like multi-purpose glue, and it says extra strong formula. Do not use a washable because washables are not that strong, and if it's washed in a water, it may ruin it. So that's why never use like a washable. And if you want more stronger glue, recommendation would be like you can also use like, let's see, you can also use a Mod Podge, which is a similar glue, but I think it's more stronger than this. And the Elmer's glues are cheaper. This one's about like $4 or $6, or around like maybe $4. Elmer's glues are cheaper. Mod Podge is about $6. You can also get it at Walmart, any local store, or any like an art store. As you can see, I cut the yarn part. And why I choose the yarn for the wig is because it's they're more fluffier and they're more. I would say the texture it looks good. Someday I will use a synthetic wig, but I would not recommend using a synthetic wig on a gluing part because it's so hard to do. It may be hard, and you might need like an extra, like a super glue or something. You can also get an alpaca wig, which an alpaca or a raw alpaca, you can make those too by an order or mail order. In most cases, we have I rather use the acrylic yarn because it's similar. It's like similar to an alpaca wig because it has almost the same texture, I guess. Like these, it's fluffier. Yeah. So that's how you do. It can be any. So yeah, this is the tutorial. Oh, and make sure when you're using an iron to straighten, make sure it's a moderate heat and not too hot, alright? Make sure it's not too hot, or else it may possibly burn the, burn the yarn, burn the yarn hair, whatever. So make sure it's moderate heat. That way it will be easier. So yeah, this is the basics of how to do a wig. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment, and I will see you guys in the next video. Alright, thank you. Bye.